Greetings, and welcome to the North Central Province of Kappa Alpha Psi Virtual Story Hour, a Room to Read initiative. We hope that your love for reading and learning continues to grow without limits. So sit back, buckle up, and let's take a ride.
Hello everyone, my name is Timothy Caldwell. I'm a member of the Gamma Upsilon chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated at the University of Southern Illinois Carbondale. I am the North Central Province strategist, and I'm also the Gamma Upsilon pole mark. Today I'm going to be reading to you guys Grandpa's Grumps by Katrina Moore. On Sunday, Daisy double-checked her list. This will be the best week ever. Yeye was coming to visit from China. She couldn't wait to meet him. He's here, he's here. She looked at him closely. She saw a head like her daddy's, but with less hair, a button nose just like hers, and a jolly round belly, perfect for hugging. Yeye grumbled. Thought Daisy. Grandpa isn't jolly. Does he not like hugs? She tried something else. Would you like some tea? Yeye nodded. Hooray, tea party. Yeye grumbled. Grandpa's grumpy, thought Daisy. This will not do. I have to make him smile before he leaves. On Monday, Daisy popped into Yeye's room. I made hot cocoa with extra marshmallows. Yeye grumbled. On Tuesday, Daisy wanted Yeye to read to her. Yeye looked at her book. He looked at Daisy. Yeye grumbled. He handed Daisy his newspaper instead. Dewey, said Yeye. Daisy looked at his newspaper. She looked at Yeye. Do some art? Daisy hoped he smiled, but he didn't. Day and night, Daisy tried to make Yeye smile, and day and night he didn't. But Friday, Yeye still hadn't smiled. This week wasn't turning out how Daisy hoped. Mama, why is Yeye such a grump? He shows love in other ways, said Mama. Thought Daisy. How could I show Yeye love in another way? Daisy had an idea. She looked at her drawing. She hoped he'd like it. Daisy peeked into Yeye's room. No grumbling, no Yeye. She was all alone. She left his surprise on the bed and meant to leave, but she didn't. What was this? Yeye's newspaper? He saved it. And what was this? A present? He shows love in other ways, thought Daisy. Daisy had an idea. On Saturday, Daisy waited for Yeye. Dewey, asked Daisy. Yeye looked at the recipe card. He looked at Daisy. He did not grumble. Do together, said Yeye. Daisy smiled and nodded. Rice. Rice, Yeye said, with a nod. Fawn? Fawn, Daisy repeated. Yeye pulled an egg from the refrigerator and said, Don. Don, Daisy repeated. Sizzle, toss, splash. Yeye's hands danced. Looks funny, said Daisy. Yeye grumbled. She tasted something sweet, but not like a marshmallow, as well as something salty that sizzled and melted just like a snowflake. So many flavors, new, warm, exciting, were dancing around in her mouth. Chow Fan, said Yeye. Yum, said Daisy. Her fingers wobbled. She picked up a lump and dropped it, right onto Yeye's slipper. He scrunched up his button nose. Oops. She waited for Yeye to grumble. But he didn't. Soon Yeye was laughing so hard his belly jiggled up and down. Daisy thought he might pat her head, but he didn't. Instead, he opened his arms wide. It was the jolliest, most perfect hug. On Sunday, it was Yeye's turn to surprise Daisy. He hoped she'd smile, and she did. It was time to make a new list. The end. Thank you for reading along with me.
Hello everyone, my name is Sean Moulton, and I am from the Zeta Pi chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi. I currently serve as the Vice Pole Mark while also being an undergraduate board member for the North Central Province. I'm happy to be here today, and I'm excited to read to you guys today. I'll be reading a book about Mae Jemison, the first African American woman to travel to space. So let's get started. So, Mae Among the Stars is the title. Little Mae was a dreamer. They say that daydreams never succeed, but little Mae was different. One day, Mae was working on an assignment for school about what she wanted to be when she grew up. What will you tell them, Mae? I will tell them I want to see Earth. This is Earth, Mae, her mother said. The flowers, the grass, the forests, and the mountains. We live on Earth. I know, but I want to see Earth from out there. That's an amazing place, little Mae. Then you have to become an astronaut. That way you can see Earth from space. Astronaut? Do you think I could do that? Of course you can. If you dream it, if you believe it, and work hard for it, anything is possible. Mae then asked her mom to take her to the library. She searched for books about space and astronauts. After dinner, Mae drew pictures of space, and she even made her own astronaut costume out of old orange curtains and cardboard boxes. Later, she asked her dad, "But how do I become an astronaut? It seems impossible." "You will find your way, Mae, because if you dream it, believe in it, and work hard for it, anything is possible," her father said. But space is so far away. It's closer than you think, little Mae, and you may get there sooner than you think. That night, Mae had a happy dream. She was dancing in space, surrounded by billions of sparkling stars. Below her, she could see Earth floating and turning like a shining crystal ball. The next morning, Mae told her parents about her dream. She wanted to tell everyone, and every time she talked about it, her eyes would light up. In the classroom, Miss Bell told everyone to stand up in a line on the rug. Today we will all go to share around our dreams about the future. What do you want to be, and what do you want to do when you grow up? Who wants to go first? I want to be a firefighter. I want to be a teacher. I want to be a football player. I want to be a mom. I want to go to space. I want to be an astronaut, Mae said. All the kids started laughing. Miss Bell asked, "Mae, are you sure you don't want to be a nurse? Nursing would be a good profession for someone like you." "I don't want to be a nurse. I want to be an astronaut." Mae felt very disappointed. On her way home from school, Mae was quiet. She looked out the car window. Her world turned blue and cold. Nothing was the way it used to be. At home, Mae started crying. Miss Bell said I can't be an astronaut. "What a silly thing to say," said her mother. "She told me I should be a nurse instead," said Mae. Her mom wiped her tears away. "My dear Mae, I hope you didn't believe her." "Of course I believed her. She's my teacher." "I'm sorry Miss Bell didn't encourage you, but she can't stop you. No one can stop you. Follow your dream, Mae, and go to space." "Thank you, Mom. I promise when I get to space, I will wave to you and Dad from the spaceship." Her mom took her hand and then started dancing. "You must always repeat yourself. If I could dream it, if I could believe it, and if I work hard for it, anything is possible." Mae went on dreaming, believing, and working hard, and guess what? She went to space and waved to her mom and her dad on Earth. The end.
Hello, my name is Emmanuel Taylor. I'm a Spring 2020 initiate of the Omega chapter of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated at Iowa State University, and I'll be reading Faja Singh Keeps Going. It was a sweltering summer. Little Faja Singh sat under the shade of the banyan tree in his village in Punjab, eating mangoes and watching the other children play. Faja was smart and funny. He and his friends liked to play cards and marbles while sitting in a circle and telling jokes. But Faja longed to join them while they ran and jumped. He longed to play hopscotch, to rescue a runaway cricket ball, or to run with a kite flying high in the sky. He wished he felt as strong as his name, which meant warrior lion. When he was very little, his parents thought that he might never walk. Month after month and year after year went by, but Fadja did not take a single step. Aunts and uncles, grandmas and grandpas shook their heads gravely and said, "It's too hard, he's too weak." But Fadja did not listen, and Fadja did not stop. Instead, every morning he would listen to his mother who said, "You know yourself, Fadja. You know what you're capable of. Today is the chance to do your best." Fadja practiced walking outside his family's hut each day, staying in the mud to soften every fall. He practiced and practiced for months. He could feel himself getting stronger inside and out. Then, a few days after Fadja's 5th birthday, a wonderful thing happened. He took one step, and another, then another, and another, and another. Fadja Singh was actually walking. Fadja's parents were proud that their son understood what he was capable of and that he worked hard to achieve his goal. They were thrilled Fadja could walk because they knew it would make his life very much easier. His parents were happy. They shared prayers of thanks and disturbed Parshad to the entire village. Once Fadja began to walk, his legs needed strengthening. He practiced walking around the banyan tree every day. Some bullies thought his legs looked like sticks, and they teased Fadja by calling him Danda. But Fadja did not listen. Fadja didn't stop. Though his legs were weak, Fadja's spirit was strong. As Fadja got bigger, it was time to go to school. But the school was miles away from his small village. There were no buses. Fadja's legs could not carry him all that distance, and they couldn't bring him to school. So while Fadja's friends went to school, he got his education on the farm, learning to plant, plow, and pick all kinds of crops. "It's too hard, he's too weak," said the neighbors. Fadja did not stop, and Fadja did not listen. He'd walk behind the buffaloes, planting seeds and getting stronger with each step. Fadja worked and worked. He walked and walked. He farmed and he farmed and he farmed. And when Fadja turned 15, the whole village witnessed a new wonder. Fadja could walk an entire mile. Fadja progressed by leaps and bounds, and he took many big steps over the next few years. He got married, he had children, and he even got his own farm. Fadja loved the life in Punjab. He loved flying kites in the open fields with his children. He loved the excitement of a close cricket match played with friends. And he loved the joy that filled the village during the harvest festival in Vakash. He taught his children how to farm, just like his father had taught him. And every morning he would tell his children, "You know yourselves and what you're capable of, and today is a chance to do your best." He cherished every step in his life's journey. As time passed, Fadja's children grew up and moved to places far away. Fadja, who was usually lively and energetic, grew sad and lonely, especially after his wife died. He missed his family and wanted to be with them. But to leave his village at the age of 81 to go live on the other side of the world, could Fadja do it? His friends were worried. "You're too old, Fadja," they said. "It's too hard for you to move away." But Fadja didn't listen, and Fadja did not stop. He knew it was time for him to take a step in a new direction. So one day, Fadja got on an airplane for the first time and went to live with his family in England. It was cold in England, and almost everyone only spoke English. Fadja was used to having many friends here, but here he felt like a stranger. His family was busy with school and work, and Fadja found himself with nowhere to go or nothing to do. Fadja passed his days in the living room, staring at the television. He had never been so miserable. As he was flipping channels one day, he saw something new. A whole lot of people were running around town. Was it a fire? An accident? No, Fadja realized. They were running just to run. And they all had big smiles on their face. Fadja knew at once that he had to try this. He put on his shoes, then he walked out the door. He took one step, and another, and another, and another, and another. Fadja Singh was running. The wind flowed through his beard, and for the first time in a long while, a smile appeared on his face. After that day, there was no stopping Fadja. He began by running a little bit in every morning, And as he got stronger, he got faster and longer. And when he felt especially strong, he would even run again in the evenings before eating dal and roti with his family. In England, it was common to see people running for fun, but not many of them looked like Fajr Singh. Some people would stare and some would even laugh, but Fajr did not let that bother him. He ran and he ran through the streets and parks of England, getting better and better each day. He ran races and he ran for fun. He ran with friends and he ran alone, always with a smile on his face. Fajr loved running. He liked the new friends he made. He enjoyed exploring the new country he now calls home. And he now loved being outdoors, which reminded him of his childhood. Playing hopscotch and flying kites in the fields. It had been a long time since he felt this happy. More than anything, Fajr loved the challenge. He had always enjoyed pushing his limits, whether it was learning to walk, doing framework, or moving to a new country. Now he was ready for his next challenge. He started training with the coach, Harminder Singh, who had already run many marathons and had trained others to run marathons too. There was no looking back after that. Harminder and Fajr ran together many times a week. After months of hard work, 89-year-old Fajr Singh became one of the oldest people to ever complete a 26.2-mile London Marathon. Fajr ran the London Marathon 5 more times after that, getting faster each year and setting new records each time. By this point, Fajr was famous, as people in English followed this man with a beard, turban, and disarming smile, running great distances. They began to learn more about the Sikh background. Around this time, Fajr learned that some of the people in the United States were attacking Sikhs for how they lived. Fajr knew this was wrong and he wanted to help, but he wasn't sure how to share his message. He couldn't read, he couldn't write, and he couldn't speak English, but he could run. And at once Fajr knew what he had to do. He decided to run the world's biggest marathon in New York City. By now, Fajr was 93 years old. Could he still run 26.2 miles? Many news reporters didn't think so. But Fajr did not listen. Fajr did not stop. Every day he practiced with his coach. Every night he dreamed about running. And every morning he reminded himself of his mother's words. You know yourself, Fajr, and you know what you're capable of. Today is a chance to do your best. The big race finally came on a chilly November day in 2003. Fajr Singh stood at the start line. He felt ready, knowing he had prepared as well as he could. He stretched in anticipation and recited a prayer, envisioning what it would be like to cross the finish line. Just then, someone shouted out racist and hateful words, and other people joined in. Fajr brushed it off, and he knew he had a strong spirit. He ran one foot in front of the other, and then, boom, disaster. The tender bliss of the soles of his feet had burst, and he was in a world of pain. He kept going, limping to the finish line. He made it, but it was his slowest time ever. Fajr was so excited that he collapsed right after the race. Medics wanted to rush him into an ambulance and take him away to recover, but Fajr preferred to stay and recover in the company of his trainer and fellow runners. Fajr made it back to England, and for the first time in a long while, he was sad. Fajr had wanted to run fast and show the world what the Sikhs could achieve. But he felt like his poor performance at the world's biggest marathon made him look weak, and that he had made him look weak. Made him look weak, and that he had failed his Sikh sisters and brothers all over the world. Maybe they were right, said a voice in his mind. Maybe it is too hard. Maybe you are too weak. The voice made Fajr doubt himself for the first time in years, and it tried to convince him to quit running altogether. But Fajr did not listen. Inspired by his coach, he set a new goal for himself. He was going to be the first 100-year-old person to ever run a full marathon Fajr ran every single day for years. He ran and ran, he practiced and practiced, and he trained. And when the day came, he knew he was ready. On October 16, 2011, 100-year-old Fajr Singh lined up at the start for the Toronto Waterfront Marathon. He was so excited that it felt like an electric current was flowing through his body. He ran along the course, and people joined him for a few miles at a time to show their support. He will only do a mile. As he ran, Fajr thought about all the things people had said he would never do. They said he wouldn't walk, but he did. They said he couldn't farm, but he did. They thought he was too old to run, and yet here he was running a 26.2 miles marathon at the age of 100. Fajr had never been more sure of himself. And adults everywhere would see him take on this difficult challenge and persevere with grace, something he learned through his faith. It took him just over 8 hours, but he finally did it. Fajr Singh finished the Toronto Marathon and set a new world record as the oldest person to ever run a marathon. He stood tall and slim. That's what I was. Proudly. He stood tall and smiled proudly, holding tightly to his medal. He had faced many challenges in his 100 years, but Fajr Singh always kept going.